Hello everyone. Today is the continuation video of Unit 3. In my previous video, I had completed the prose lesson, Ancient Architecture in India. I hope you revised that lesson. We are going to do the post-reading exercises now and then go to the first grammar topic after Unit 3. So for the post-reading, it's on page number 32. If you have your textbooks with you, please turn with me to page number 32. We'll start with the post-reading here. Alright, the first one says choose the correct answer. And the sentence is Dash visited the Mauryan court. This is very easy, isn't it? Who visited the Mauryan court? Megasthenes is the right answer. Megasthenes visited the Mauryan court. The second sentence is Mauryan art and architecture depicted the influence of the Persians and the Greeks, which is B, the answer B there. For the previous sentence, the answer was C and now it is B, Persians and Greeks. What did Chandragupta Maurya do? He inculcated and he copied the Persian and the Greek art in his palace. His palace was carved out of wood, and the carvings and the design that he did there were all adopted from the Persian and the Greek art. The next is art and architecture flourished under the Mauryas because now there are a few reasons why Mauryas adapted to art and architecture. And if you also remember, Chandragupta Maurya was the first king to start with architecture, designing. He was the first king to do it. So he did it for a few reasons. Now what are those reasons are mentioned down. So choose which is the right one. They had material prosperity, which is correct, isn't it? He was very wealthy because he was ruling over so many different countries. He had conquered so many countries, and as mentioned earlier, Kabul and Afghanistan were also ruled by the Chandragupta Maurya dynasty, right? So they had material prosperity is one. And the second one is there was a heightened religious consciousness. Yes, this is also correct because Chandragupta Maurya had a lot of reverence for for God. So he worshipped different deities and different gods, and he gave a lot of importance to religion. So that is one of the reasons why architecture actually flourished during the Mauryan reign. And the others are not really acceptable. There was a huge availability of artisans is not mentioned in your textbook. There was an influence of the Persians and the Greeks is also not mentioned. Yes, he was influenced by the Persians and Greeks when it came to art and architecture, right? But then the Persians and the Greeks did not really come and influence him and ask him to construct different temples and monuments and palaces, right? So go to the next page. The Dilwara temples in Mount Abu are dedicated to Jain Tirthankaras, Buddha, the sun god, Mahadev. So the first answer, Jain Tirthankaras, is correct. Who are Jain Tirthankaras? They are Jain worship leaders. Alright? And then stone engravings, that's the next sentence. Stone engravings are seen in the temples of Dash and Dash. So where do you see stone engravings? Mahabalipuram, Kanchipuram, Bhubaneswar, Puri, Konark, Khajuraho, Belur, Halabedu. So the last answer is correct, which is Belur and Halabedu. Alright. So this is about the post-reading part. Now coming to the second task there, which says complete the table by mentioning the architectural contributions of the various dynasties. Two have been done for you. The first one is already done for you. The second is also done. It says Mauryas. What were their architectural contributions? The monolithic stone pillars. Monolithic, if you remember, I told you what is mono. Mono means single. So monolithic stone pillars which were carved out of a single stone. So that was their contribution to architecture. The Kushanas, they built statues of the Buddha and Bodhisattvas in Greek style. Right? Greek style is they resembled lifelike structures. They were genuine and alive. That was what the Kushanas did. Now coming to the Satavahanas. Now I'm going to give you the answers. Write it down, but once have a look at the lesson and go through and see if the answers are right. Alright? Okay. Now the Satavahanas actually came up with the Amravati school in the Andhra region. You remember in the Andhra region, the Satavahanas developed the the school of art in Amravati. The Amravati school of art. Now the Guptas. The Guptas were popular for their contributions in architecture when it came to freestanding temples. So freestanding temples is the answer for the Guptas. And then the Rashtrakutas. Rashtrakutas were popular for rock cut temples and Kailash temple, okay, at Ellora. Then we have Pallavas. Pallavas again are popular for rock cut temples, Ratha temples at Belur and at Mahabalipuram. Alright. And then we have the Cholas. The Cholas had come up with a new architectural design, which was the Dravida style and the Nagara style. Okay. So the Dravida style temples which were in Belur and Halabedu. Alright. And then we come to Eastern Ganga. The Sun Temple in Konark. Eastern Ganga kings and rulers, designed the Sun Temple in Konark, which is designed as a 12-wheeled chariot. Alright. And then we have the Chandelas. The Chandelas are popular for the temples, the temple complex at Khajuraho. And then the Solankis, they are popular with Dilwara temples at Mount Abu. So this is just for you to understand and remember which dynasty was responsible for which architecture. Alright, so these I would want you to reread the lesson before you write down the answers. I just mentioned the answers, but I want you to read them and then do it on your own. Alright, okay, now let's go to the first topic of grammar from unit 3, which is the prefixes. The prefixes. This is on page number 57. Page number 57. Alright. So have a look at page number 57. Here under vocabulary, you have prefixes and suffixes from foreign languages. So prefixes and suffixes from foreign languages. Now what I was thinking is, I'm not going to do everything in detail, but I'm going to do a few here and there. But there is another aspect of prefixes and suffixes, which are what do they actually mean in a foreign language, that I'm going to do it in detail. So there is a table there where you have the prefix, you also have the meaning of the prefix, and you have an example. It makes it easier for you to read. It is self-explanatory. So I'm not going to do everything. I'm just going to do a few for you to start with. So to start with, we'll start with the first one, where the prefix is AER. The prefix is AER, and the meaning of AER is easy to understand because the pronunciation is also very similar to AER. Air. So anything in the air has AER as a prefix. Now if you look at the example words which are given there, it says aeroplane. Yeah, aeroplane is in the air, isn't it? And then aeronautics, something to do with aeronautics, right? So it starts with AER. So AER, the meaning of that prefix is air. And then we will go to the next one, which is GEO. Geo. It's not JIO, Reliance Geo. We are talking about GEO, which means the earth. The meaning is things relating to the earth start with the prefix GEO. For example, you have geology, geometry, and then geothermal, all these words. If you read these prefixes and you read the meaning and the examples, it's easy for you to understand. Now turn with me to the next page where we have suffixes. Suffixes, here you have CIDE, which comes at the end. CIDE, which means killer. So what ends with the word CIDE? Yeah? Yes? CIDE, insecticide, pesticide. Pesticides actually kill worms. And then homicide. Homicide is killing of oneself. And then gummy, Gamy. Gummy means, which is as a suffix, and it relates to the word called meaning. Okay, a meaning for the word is marriage. Now the gummy word here, it says polygamy. Polygamy, marrying many people. Alright. Monogamy, marrying one person. And then bigamy is two people. Okay, marrying two people. So gamy is a word or a suffix which relates to marriage. So the rest of the words, you read the suffixes, you read the meaning of the suffix and look at the examples. It's easier for you to understand. Fine? Alright, okay. Now we'll go to page, I'll do this task for you. Task 1, you have to do it on your own, where you have to, add the prefix bio and then, frame a sentence. I'll do the first one for you. Biochemistry. Task 1 says biochemistry and you have to frame a sentence of your own. So, I study biochemistry. You framed a word, right? In the same manner, biography. So frame a sentence using the word biography. But look at task 2 here. Task 2 is saying, here is a list of words ending with the suffix phobia. Find out what these words mean. Use these words in sentences of your own. Now I'm going to give you the meaning of, the different phobias that are mentioned here. I'll give you the meaning and you'll have to frame sentences on your own. The first one is hydrophobia. The word phobia itself signifies fear. Okay, you're afraid of something when you have a phobia. So hydrophobia, hydro is water, isn't it? So fear of water. Hydrophobia is fear of water. Please write down the meanings. Hydrophobia is fear of water. Claustrophobia is fear of closed or tight places. Closed places, people are afraid of, closed doors, closed, everything. When something is closed, they are afraid. They want everything to be open. So they are afraid of closed doors, alright? So claustrophobia is afraid of, closed doors. The next one is uh, agoraphobia. Agoraphobia is fear of wide open spaces, huge playgrounds, huge stadiums, or when there is a huge public meeting. It's a big open space, right? So people are afraid of such places also, not just closed and indoors. They are also afraid of open spaces. So that is the phobia, fine. And then xenophobia. Xenophobia is fear of strangers. Fear of strangers. Some people don't are afraid of talking to strangers. They have all their own, predictions. Maybe the stranger has come to steal. Maybe the stranger has come to kidnap me. Maybe the stranger is trying to find out information about me. Some people, have this phobia in them. So that phobia is called xenophobia. Not talking to strangers, not mingling with strangers, not being open to strangers because of, of the fear that you have in you. And then the next one is photophobia. Photophobia here is not the fear of photos, it is the fear of light. Okay, fear of light. People cannot, look at light. Once there is, sunrise and, light starts coming, some people are afraid. So this is that phobia, which is photophobia. And the last one is acrophobia. Acrophobia, there are many people who have this phobia in them. It is fear of heights. They can't go for more than one or two floors. Fear of, they can't go to a height and look down. That is a phobia. They have a fear of that. People don't get into the Charminar also. They don't climb totally up because they are afraid to look down. Many floors in an apartment, they are afraid to go. So that is the fear of heights are acrophobia. So I've given you the meanings. Now try framing the sentences on your own. Alright, now coming to the last topic on page number 59, which talks about words from foreign languages. Okay, we have adapted so many words from the foreign languages, and what are those words are given here in a table. So let's read that for you. Okay, the first one is bona fide. We use this bona fide certificates. Now what is the meaning of bona fide? See the pronunciation. It is actually a word which is derived from the Latin language, which is pronounced as bona fide, fide. The pronunciation in Latin is actually bona fide. It is not bona fide as we use it. And what is the meaning here? Authentic. Authentic means something that is original, authentic. Now, you're asked to give a bona fide certificate, isn't it? Where the college, gives details that you are the student of that college. Which means you are not fake, you are an original student of that college. It's a certificate which has to be certified by the principal of the institution where you are studying, isn't it? So, for people to know that you are not giving fake certificates, you are a bona fide student of St. Peter's Engineering College, right? Authentic, original. The next one is de facto, and the pronunciation in Latin is de facto. De facto. Now, what does de facto mean? Existing but not accepted. Existing but not accepted. There might be certain things, which are existing but are not accepted. Such words are called de facto. The next one is etc. we say etc., etc. Isn't it very easy? etc is very easily written by all of us. It is etc. Now what is the meaning of etc.? It means and the rest of such things. Etc. means and so on, isn't it? We do it. So the rest of such things. That is the word derived from the Latin word. And then we have impromptu. Impromptu, that is the pronunciation in Latin. The meaning of this is spontaneous, without prior preparation. Spontaneous means instantly, something that you do instantly. You can use the word impromptu. Alright, and then the next one, quid pro quo. It's very clear written here. It is quid pro quo. What does that mean? It means something for something in exchange. You are giving something for something in exchange. That is the time when you use the word, the Latin word quid pro quo. And then we have ad hoc. Ad hoc is again very commonly used by us in many scenarios. What is the meaning of ad hoc? It means for the time being, temporary. Staff in different offices are taken on ad hoc basis, which means temporary. Once the work is done, they are asked to quit. So that is ad hoc. They are working on a temporary basis, not on a permanent basis. And then we have pro rata. Pro rata, which means proportionately. Proportionately is you should be able to balance it properly. Proportion. Alright? And then we have modus operandi. Modus operandi, which means a specific way of doing something. Usually this word is used with CBI and CID officials or police officers. They are in a modus operandi, which means they are operating in a different style. Sometimes these police officers and CBI officers don't reveal their identity. They don't reveal their identity, and they come and talk to you as a common man. That is their way of functioning. That is modus operandi. The police officer is performing his duties in modus operandi. Modus operandi here is not revealing his identity. Alright, working in a particular direction, in a particular way. That is modus operandi. And then you have status quo. Status quo, which is the current situation. What is the status quo? Which means what is the current situation in our state? What is the current situation in our country? The current situation in our country is COVID-19, isn't it? Wherever you go, whatever you hear, you are definitely going to hear only about COVID-19. So that is the status quo of our country. And then a la carte. A la carte. A la carte. Okay, that is how it is pronounced in Latin. And what does that mean? A la carte means individual items on a list which are not part of a pre-decided package. A la carte. I'll tell you what is a la carte. You find this word in good restaurants. When you go to a restaurant, you ask them for an a la carte. What does that mean? They bring you a huge plate with different varieties of food. Different varieties of food. You can order an a la carte as a starter, or you can also ask for an a la carte as your main dish. A la carte is different varieties of food which are placed in one plate and is given to you. Alright, so that is a la carte, different individual items. And then fox paw. It is not fox pox, it is fox paw. That is the pronunciation, and it talks about a socially inappropriate behavior, a mistake, which is fox pass. In case you are doing something which is not socially acceptable, against the law, illegal, that is a fox pass. Okay, riding a two-wheeler without a helmet is a fox pass. Yeah, you can be booked for not wearing a helmet because you have fox passed against the rule. You've gone against the rule. Okay, and then en masse. It is not en masse. It is en masse. Now, what is the meaning of en masse here? Here in Latin, it is omas. Omas. Look at the pronunciation there. It says omas. In a large group of people, or when you are all together, it is called en masse. And then bon a partie. Bon a partie. Now here in India we say bon appetite. It is bon a party. Wishing someone when they enjoy their meal. In case you're enjoying you went to a restaurant and you are having your food. Before you go to a restaurant, when you tell your family or friends that you're going to a restaurant to have food, they'll say bon a party, which means enjoy your food. This is usually used in airlines. When you're traveling, when you take a flight, the air hostess actually, when they serve food, this is a word that they use. They say bon a party, so enjoy your food. And then we have the next one, restaurant. It is not restaurant, it is restaurant. And what does that mean? A place where food is prepared and served to customers. This is known to us, right? But it is known to us in a different word. We say restaurant, isn't it? Don't we do this? It is actually restaurant. Restaurant, that is the correct pronunciation. The next one is that chauffeur. Chauffeur, look at the pronunciation in your textbook. It says chauffeur. Chauffeur. Now who's a chauffeur? A driver specifically for a rich person or a celebrity. These days, drivers are for everyone in India. Yeah, we are all celebrities. We are no less than, rich people, isn't it? So our cars are chauffeur driven. So a driver who specifically is used to drive you to different places is called a chauffeur. Chauffeur, alright? And usually chauffeur, when this name is mentioned, it looks very sophisticated. Chauffeurs are, in a uniform, usually a white uniform with a white cap too, alright? Okay, the next one. Go to the next page. Here it says deja vu. Deja vu. The word there is deja vu. That is the word, that is the spelling, but then the pronunciation is deja vu. Now what is deja vu? A feeling that you have already seen or experienced the current situation. Now COVID-19 is the current situation. Sometime in the year 1920, there was this flu called typhoid. People suffered from typhoid, and in 1920 typhoid was as serious or as grievous as COVID-19 now, because then there was no vaccine for typhoid. Now there is a vaccine, and even if somebody is suffering from typhoid, you're not scared. So deja vu is people who are there during that particular period where typhoid was fast spreading across the world. They would say, looking at the COVID situation, a feeling that you have already seen. They say this is deja vu. Okay, the pronunciation is deja vu. They would say this is deja vu, which means we have already experienced a situation like this some time ago. All right. Now I think we will talk to our children and grandchildren, saying that COVID-19, it was a deja vu. We experienced it already. Right. The next one, bouquet. It is not bouquet. It is bouquet, and the right pronunciation here in Latin is bouquet. Bouquet. Okay, that is the pronunciation here. And what does that mean? A bunch of flowers, right? Bouquet. And then buffet is what we Indians say, don't we? Buffet. How was the food? It was a buffet. Okay, but then the right pronunciation is buffet. Buffet. That is the correct pronunciation. And what does a buffet mean? A meal where guests serve food for themselves. Buffet is where food is arranged on tables, and you, as self-service, you go and serve the food items that you are interested in eating. That is a buffet. And most of the weddings and functions and whatever we do are all on the buffet basis, isn't it? Okay, the next one. Souvenir, that is the pronunciation. Souvenir, souvenir, that is how you pronounce it. An object bought to remember a visit to a place or a memorable trip. Okay, you visited Agra and you bought a Taj Mahal in a glass. Yeah, there's so much, so many different articles and products which are available at Agra. A small, glass has the, Taj Mahal inserted in it, and, lot of different types of artwork done on, grains of rice and stuff like that. So when you bring back something from the place that you visited, that is called a souvenir. A souvenir, alright? And then something that reminds you of your trip, right? Okay, the next one. Zucchini. It is zucchini, and this is an Italian word, not a Latin word. It is an Italian word, zucchini, which means a vegetable. Okay, and then vendetta. Vendetta is a long-lasting revenge, feud between two families. There are families where brothers and sisters are having eternal fights. They are always on the basis of revenge. They want to take revenge, bash up one another, kill one another. That is called vendetta. Vendetta. And then infana. Infana. It is not inferno as it is written there. The pronunciation is infana, which means hell, a large fire. Something that is hot, extremely, painful. You can't take it. Such a situation you use the word infano. All right. And then we have, yeah, a very popular, food item for us, isn't it? What is that? For us Indians, it is pizza, isn't it? It is pizza. We do this, but what is the correct pronunciation? Pizza and pasta. It is given there. So the pronunciation is actually, this is from from Italy. Yeah, it's not made in India. It is not our Indian product. It is actually, the correct pronunciation is pizza. Pizza. Please remember, it is not pizza or pizza, it is pizza. The correct pronunciation is pizza. And then it is pasta. It is not pasta. Alright, it is pasta. And this comes from the Italian language, which means food items of Italian origin, which means the origin of pizza was from Italy. It's not from India. Alright. And then coming to the last aspect, which is Japanese. Now here, Japanese is typhoon and tsunami. We have heard of this, very dangerous words, isn't it? Typhoon is the weather phenomena. Weather phenomena. Tsunami is, when there are floods and winds and all that. We use these words, typhoon and tsunami, but their origin is from the Japanese language. Then we have karaoke. Karaoke, which is not karaoke in India. It is karaoke in Japanese, which is sing-along songs. Sing-along, which means singing a lot of songs, different songs. And then we have anime. Anime, which is Japanese style of cartoons. You have seen your Ching Chang and things like that on television. They're all Japanese cartoons, and so their name is, so it is anime, animation. They are all animated versions. And then we have, this is very popular with your WhatsApp and with your Android mobiles. What is that? It is emoji. It is not emojis. The Japanese word for this is emoji. That is the origin of the word, Japanese. You can't change the Japanese language, right? You can't say emoji, it is emoji. Emojis are digital images expressing emotion. What kind of emotions can you express? You have a hell lot of emotions on WhatsApp. You can use anything and everything according to your situation. So it is not emoji, it is emoji, and that is in the Japanese language. And then the last two, karate, judo, sumo. This is what we speak like in India, but then it is karate, it is judo and sumo. It is not sumo, it is sumyo. That is the Japanese word. These are forms of martial art. Alright. And the last word is ninja. You have a cartoon also with the same name, isn't it? So the same pronunciation even in Japanese, which is ninja, who's a Japanese sword fighter. Okay, a Japanese fighter is called a ninja. So these are words of foreign origin. So we've learnt Latin, Italian and Japanese language words and what are their meanings. And in my next video, I'm going to discuss the fill in the blanks where you are supposed to use the words that you learnt. Alright. Until then, I would want you to try and fill up those blanks. I'm going to discuss the answers in my next video. Thank you.